Everybody can hear you.
I'd like to just begin by a comment that I truly believe, after listening to you and seeing you and hearing you, that you really can bring some much needed change to this country.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My question is, how much would your administration be willing to spend on the development of clean coal technologies?
You know, I think it's a great question. Let me talk about energy because I didn't talk about this. We got to change our energy policy. We spend $800 million to $1 billion every day on imported oil. And a lot of that's going to hostile nations. We're funding both sides of the war on terrorism. You know, George Bush talks about how he wants to take on Iran. And then we drive up oil prices to close to $100 a barrel. Who do you think benefits from that? Iran. So if we're really serious about trying to deal with some of these issues, we're going to try to reduce our consumption. Now, there are a couple of things that we got to do. Number one, we got to increase fuel efficiency standards on cars. If we increase fuel efficiency standards on cars to 40 miles per gallon, we would save the equivalent of all the oil we import from the Persian Gulf. All of it. Imagine what that would do for our national security, for the environment, but also for our economy. And by the way, when I proposed this, I didn't do it in front of the Sierra Club. I proposed this in Detroit, in front of the automakers. And they, I gotta say, nobody clapped. But that's okay, because part of what you need from the next president is somebody who won't just tell you what you want to hear, tell you what you need to hear. So part of it is on the transportation side. We also, though, need to figure out how are we going to generate electricity and energy in more efficient ways. And some of that is conservation. I mean, everybody should be changing their light bulbs and getting these energy efficient light bulbs. People have to insulate their homes more effectively. We've got to unplug these chargers on phones. There are a whole bunch of things that we can do to reduce energy consumption, the way buildings are designed. But part of it is also we've got to look at solar, wind, biomass, and we're still going to have to look at how to make traditional fuels more efficient. Coal is a good example. We are the Saudi Arabia of coal. We got more coal than just about anybody. But here's the problem. Coal is really dirty. And it is a major contributor of greenhouse gases that are causing global warming. And by the way, global warming is no hoax. George Bush, I know, said for 6 years that it was. We're seeing it. It's having an impact. The ice caps are melting up north. For the first time in recent memory, you're able to get a ship through the Northwest Passage. It used to be that Arctic cap was all frozen all year round, and now during the summers there may not be any ice at all. And this is going to have an impact on farmers. It's going to have an impact in terms of tornadoes, drought. You see what's happening down in the southeast right now. So we've got to take that seriously. Now, we should be able to develop technology that sequesters the carbon that's released from coal-fired plants, captures the carbon so it's not going in the atmosphere, and then we can burn coal clean. It's going to take a major investment, though, because we don't have the technology to do it right now in an efficient way. So what I've said is, I'm going to cap the greenhouse gases that are emitted by power plants. We're going to tell the power plants, we're going to charge you for the pollution that you send into the air. And we're going to take the money. First of all, we're going to then give you an incentive to improve your systems, because now it'll affect your bottom line. Right now, sending pollution into the air is free. Now it's going to cost money, which means entrepreneurs and business people are going to start figuring out how can we make some money making for clean coal. But what we're also going to do is we're going to take some of the money that's charged for pollution and set up an Apollo project, a Manhattan project, for clean energy, including clean coal technology. And we are committed, I'm committed to spending $150 billion just on the development of solar, wind, clean coal technology, figuring out how can we get that energy mix that puts us on a stronger economic footing and helps the environment and improves our national security. And by the way, you're already seeing the opportunities for rural economic development. Keokuk, they just got a plant, 400 new jobs, well-paying jobs, producing wind turbines, right? So one of the nice things about energy is we could actually start seeing alternative fuel businesses developing and dispersed all throughout rural Iowa, rural Illinois, places all across the country where a lot of times people have been left behind economically. Right? So,